Welcome to the RIP Comic Book Club. This is Vic Mendez Sr. and today we're going to review Ultimate Spider-Man 5 and 6. Joining me this week, as always, Victor Jr.
What up?
And Gabe.
What up, though?
And coming back with us again for the second time is Alec Austin.
How you going?
All right, guys, we read 5 and 6. We're starting the Ultimate Spider-Man reading right now. We went to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and 6. Even though I'm a little upset at 6 because I left it with a cliffhanger, so now I actually have to get 7, even though it's not part of our plan. But what you guys think? What's going on? Do you want to start with 5 and move on to 6, or how do you guys want to do it today?
Yeah, we could start with 5 and then 6.
Okay. What's your thoughts? What's your guys' favorite parts? Favorite art piece? I mean,
well, for me, 5 was cool because he, the main point or one of the main points on it was like pretty much getting his name cleared from that, the fake Spider-Man and whatnot. So,
Yeah.
and then you had Gwen's dad dying.
Yeah, the little drama, the novela kind of.
Not only Gwen's dad dying, but her mom just like leaving at first.
Yeah, exactly. Just up and outing.
Yeah, and ditching her like, it's your problem now. Like, mom of the year right there.
Well, in that first issue of the volume, I think it was called Sidetracked. It's when we find out about the Ultimates, we see Iron Man in that issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's Peter trying to get to downtown because the Rhino is going crazy, and he's trying to leave Midtown High, but there's like 5 things distracting him. Like Aunt May shows up for a parent-teacher conference. Gwen is in the dumpster behind Midtown High.
And I think Mary Jane was kind of giving him stuff when he told her, like, hey, go check on Gwen because she's over there.
Oh, and Mary Jane is going crazy these last 2 volumes.
Well, what am I supposed to think when she's staying over there?
Yeah.
I think she was more involved in Volume 5 than Volume 6, but in Volume 5 she was annoying. And Gwen was playing games anyway, so.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think about seeing Iron Man?
I liked it. That was pretty cool.
I felt like it was kind of quick.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in and out. Like, I'm just here for a cameo and I'm out of here.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
Got to establish that universe.
And then I thought it focused a lot on Aunt May this volume as well. Even had Aunt May trying to flirt with Gwen's dad. I felt. Well,
yeah, there was something hitting there. Like it kind of, felt like with her and Happy in the movies and stuff like that.
Oh boy!
Oh yeah,
it had that type of,
this Aunt May really is Marissa Tomei.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let's see that.
I see why they casted her though. Like because, like. If you haven't read, this story, you would just think like, oh, they're just trying to get a pretty face and this and that. But they kind of, like he sexed her up a little bit in this whole issue or this whole, series of, kind of took away from the old grandma.
I love the themes in this volume of, kind of the price of being a public hero.
Yeah.
J. Jonah Jameson trying to be like, Spider-Man, menace and all of this, typical. And going back to that, the media's power to shape perception, just crazy because people will, as Mysterio said in Far From Home, people will believe anything nowadays, And Peter's isolation and burden of responsibility, I like it,
Can we talk about how fucked up it is that the cops keep parking in front of the Parker household like that?
Yeah.
It keeps scaring Peter Parker.
Yeah. It happened twice in these 2 volumes.
I think it was actually more than twice.
Yeah, it's when when Captain Stacy's trying to pawn off Gwen for his trip to Atlantic City, and then again when he dies,
It was
and
like one more, wasn't there?
yeah, I can't remember what it was for.
Yeah, I remember, but yeah, they kept scaring him. And I'm gonna be careful with the words I use, but I felt five was good, but to me it felt like it was necessary, but it was kind of a filler.
Yeah, like with a lot of the backstories and more of the personal life of Peter and Spider-Man going on, like
Yeah.
in all the little like it was a side mission.
How do we
Yeah,
feel about the cops shooting Peter?
Dude.
you thought he was gonna die.
It's fucked up because they know
Yeah.
that the Spider-Man is inside the building.
Yeah,
But Peter shows up and they're like, "Hey, man, we know it's you. Like, you just put your hands in the air, get off the wall." He's like, "It's not me. Obviously, I'm outside," and they just start shooting at him.
yeah, that was pretty intense. Like, I mean,
Uh-huh.
I was like surprised they actually went there. Like, oh man, they actually like he gets shot at and get hit, and like needs. I mean, thank God for
He's
Nick.
bleeding out in a dumpster, and Mary Jane
Yeah,
has to come find him.
On live television, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Hey, so just out of curiosity, is this the first time all you guys read this, or you guys read it before? Like to me, it's first time, obviously.
it's my first time.
I
Second time.
skimmed through it
Okay,
a while back.
okay. Um, and then the reason I asked that because I mean, as I've been reading through it, I'm like seeing new things I've never seen before. Obviously, the artwork is a little more um was detailed
Oh yeah,
with the
Mark
shadows.
Bagley's going crazy.
Yeah,
With the shadows and the lines and the details of like Gwen and Mary Jane, Peter's facial reactions,
yeah,
um,
like especially one where he's like walking by himself, and
all the time.
well, yeah, but one specifically, it's like right after the whole Spider-Man criminal like front cover of the Bugle, but then he's on the subway, and then when he comes up, like
Oh,
you
he's
see like
ashamed to put on the
shadow,
mask.
yeah, and then like the street light, because something like you know he just when he sees the cops, that's what it is. The cops get his attention, but right before that, like I mean that type of like how it captures his face, like oh shoot, what's going on, and I mean I think that's what you're trying to point out too, Vic.
Yeah, you can tell that Mark Bagley was getting ready for the Venom arc with
Yeah.
this like volume. With
Yep.
all the night scenes, all the shadows, the way
Yep.
that Spider-Man looks dark most of the
Yeah.
time.
Setting the tone.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought the artwork was very good. Um, and we'll mention it when we get to six, but I feel like six was more dialogue than art, even though it was really good artwork. I just when I read comic books, I either focus on the art and just read through the book, or I focus on the dialogue and I don't get to pay attention to the art as much. And in six, I paid attention to the words more because there's more dialogue. And then I went back and looked at the art, and it was really good. But
Mm-hmm.
on five, I felt like that I was paying attention to a lot of the artwork and the details, and the way he was, like I said, his shadows and the lines and the face, and I mean, just the little things. I mean, I'm looking at one right now. He's walking through the hallway, and I mean, he drew a garbage can. I mean, he just
Yeah.
like the little details in there. It's just he did like really good job.
Yeah, I agree. W- you guys got to meet Iron Man in that first issue. How'd you feel about meeting the Wasp when she shows up to Midtown
Oh,
High in a black van?
yeah. Where she's the one that gave Peter the or that shot, right? That helped
Yeah.
him out.
Yep. Janet Van Dyne.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't sure though because they didn't like they. You know what? I have to. That was kind of at the beginning, right?
It's like
Five.
it's after he gets shot and before Ginger Stacy and Aunt May have that call. It's
Okay.
that same day, I think.
Yeah, I got confused on that area, and then
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if she mentioned if it was her or not. But I remember her. I remember looking at the name, saying, "Who is this?"
Yeah, I think Peter realizes it's Janet because, like I said, one of these in between one of these volumes, we'll read Ultimates because it's popping off at around this time. But the Ultimates are public figures, so everyone knows who they are. And so Peter recognizes her first, and he's like, "Oh, you're the Wasp."
Yeah. Then like I said, he got shot, and when he was dying, he was like, about to faint in the school, right?
Yeah, he's he's rough the next day. That's one thing that's really cool about these volumes is that you really get the sense that they take place over the course of a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, there I found it now. Yeah, when I was reading it, I guess I didn't put. I recognized like the name and where they were heading towards, but it's like so far back in the book in the middle. It was in the middle of part 5.
Mhm.
Then I guess I read off it and just didn't pay attention.
I understand why you might not get the name right away because in the MCU, she's not our Wasp. Janet Van Dyne is our Wasp.
Yeah.
Which is her and Hank's daughter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just but I see she helped him out and she gave him a shot. Which is funny how their injections always look like a gun.
Oh yeah, it's Shield, baby.
Yeah.
Yep. Was she the Wasp in the Kree scroll, or was it the one we read the Avengers?
The Kree Scroll War.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her, Janet Van Dyne. She's also the mother of Tony Stark's son in Avengers Twilight.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She dies in the motel room, I think, after the Great Battle of New York.
Yeah.
I have here in my notes that I really liked the scene where Aunt May and Peter go up to Gwen and ask for her to stay with them.
Yeah.
And the language that she uses, she's like, "Well, seeing as I only know how to cook for 3."
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, because Ben's not there no more, so.
Mm-hmm. And the last bit of notes that I have for this volume is that, damn, MJ is just crashing out on Peter at every chance that she gets. Sometimes
she's toxic.
Yeah, like right before he gets shot, like that whole scene there too, and well, she's sleeping there, and
right, yeah, exactly. That's when they're in the basement, right? And he's washing his suit.
Yeah.
Jeez.
There's also that scene when Aunt May calls to see if Peter's over there at MJ's, and after MJ hangs up, she says, "I should be an actress," which is really funny because, as we know, like main universe, Mary Jane is an actress.
Yeah.
Failed actress.
Failed actress.
The scene where because the scene where Aunt May and Gwen is at the end of 5, but the one where he catches that fake Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Spider-Man was just kind of like, hey, I was just trying to do it to make some money. Like,
yeah.
What is your reasoning? No reasoning. Just did it. Like, and then they showed the guy's face. It was also good drawings.
Yeah, he's a Puerto Rican Spider-Man. Because they say he's speaking Spanish, and when they I know those curls anywhere, man.
There you go.
At first, I thought they were gonna set up the chameleon or something like that.
Yeah,
I know, right? Yeah.
And I was a little disappointed when like oh, okay.
But I think the Peter scene at that bank is pretty insane. He's really angry. We get to see him really angry at these 2 volumes.
Yeah.
Especially in volume 6, which we'll get to in a second. But Peter's like angry at the way the world is. Yeah. Peter's angry at the world for making him be Spider-Man.
I guess I read 5 like 2 weeks ago, and then I read 6 this week. But I forgot how angry he was in that bank. I mean, the way I'm reading through some of the dialogue right now. You murder someone today, a cop, a good person. Do you know what? You know that? You even know what you've done? I mean, he's beating the shit out of them.
He goes, so what's to stop me from murdering you, huh? Why not? Yeah. And he's choking the guy, and he goes, what difference would it make? Tell me you don't deserve it. tell me why I shouldn't kill you here right now.
Setting
And
up that arc, man.
yeah, it's
Oh,
when
that's-
he's like looking
Go
at him like pass out, and that's when he stops.
He's
He's
like
just
really testing his moral compass right there, you know. And
That's when he says, "Please, I'm just some guy."
Mm-hmm.
No,
And
it was good. Like I said, I felt like it was a filler volume, but it was good. It was necessary, a necessary filler. Because 6 kind of blew it out the water.
yeah.
oh
No,
yeah,
I will add though, like, is that really Iron Man, or is it one of like his like suits that like can go on its own? Because I mean, they kind of drew that Iron Man different too. It was, you
in
know, I
the
mean, it looks dope, but
mhm.
at the same time, it's like it made me question, like, is that, you know, really Tony Stark there?
It's
Or,
I mean, it could be a drone, right? But
yeah.
that's how the Iron Man suit looks in the Ultimate Universe.
Oh, okay.
It's very weird how the
Yeah.
Ultimate Universe works. It's like
Something.
because Tony Stark in the Ultimate Universe is sometimes depends on who's writing it. He's a mutant,
Yeah.
and his mutant ability is that his whole body is a brain, essentially, even his skin.
Oh wow.
And so the suit, it has to be ultra like durable and be able to protect him. That's why it's so bulky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of there was those Lego toys that like had the masks and
Uh-huh.
whatnot. I can't remember the name of them.
He looks like a Lego Stormtrooper to me.
Yeah.
And then once we get to 6, we get to see a lot of the Parker like life. You know, like
Yeah.
he goes through his dad's things and he finds VHS tape. And I just want to mention that his mom's name is also Mary, and she is a redhead.
That's where he gets it from.
Yeah.
Very common.
In that video, we get to see that Uncle Ben and May have always been hippies.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to confirm, we're going off to 6 now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 5 was, like I said, good, just necessary filler.
6,
yeah.
Gabe, what did you think of 5 and Alec too?
It was a pretty good setup. To go with 6, you know, unfortunately, because my love of Venom, and you know, Lil Vic, you know how I feel about Venom. He's probably like my favorite villain and hero. So it just, you know, unfortunately, 5 gets overshadowed by 6 for me. So
that's
fair.
Yeah, very fair.
It's a pretty good transition, you know,
Yeah.
the moral dilemmas and how they're setting everything up and testing Peter essentially.
Yeah.
Until we get to this issue 6, where I think it's one of the first few times that Peter's like telling Nick Fury, he's like, I'm a mutant or something.
Oh, he's trying to tell Nick like he doesn't want the powers anymore, and he's trying to explain why he feels that way in the first place, which is like because he misunderstood what Nick was trying to tell him at the end of last week at last volume that we read, where he's like, you told me yourself, like, as soon as I turned 18, I'm yours, I'm your genetic like experiment that you're gonna keep like locked away. And then Nick is just like, kid, like, listen, like, once you reach 18, you can become an ultimate, like Tony Stark, like Captain America, like Bruce Banner. You're gonna be one of the best. And like this volume was real cool because we get to find out more about the Parkers. So we get the official confirmation that they died in a plane crash in this one. And for all you Amazing Spider-Man fans out there, this is clearly like where they got that from. They get a lot of the Amazing Spider-Man like source material from the Ultimate Universe, and the bones are there, you know.
And one of the series too, the animated series is heavily based off of
this book.
Well. Yeah. Is it the one with Drake Bell voices Peter or?
Ultimate Spider-Man TV show. Yeah. The relationship with Nick Fury in that show too is also like very taken from this. Dad, you're about to say something?
And Eddie's parents were in that plane as well, right?
Yeah. Both the Brocks and the Parkers died, and in the in the Amazing Spider-Man films, it's like a private jet that only the Parkers die in, but in this, it's like a full like plane,
Yeah,
and
they
that's
touched on it briefly. They just said when he asked, "Do you think they were murdered?" and he said, "Well, it'd be kind of weird because there's other people on that plane."
yeah. He asked if they were murdered, and it just so happens that they were gonna go fight for the Venom suit in like Congress or something, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, because Eddie Brock's father and Peter's father worked on the secret genetic product to cure disease.
Yeah, for Trask Industries, and
Yeah.
keen-eyed readers will know that name because Trask is the name of the company that makes Sentinels
Mm-hmm.
to hunt down X-Men. So they're no strangers to genetic anomalies and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I knew I didn't recognize the name. I just didn't know from where.
You know,
But
and oh, go ahead.
no, I would say, but when you're reading these comic books, like you gotta, for me, it's like every little hint they give you, I gotta like write it down and be like, okay, what's this from? Or look it up
Mhm.
because it's like they throw out so many like little what they call those little treasures,
Easter eggs.
Easter eggs, yeah. And so sometimes I don't catch them, and I'm just like, okay, who's this? What's that? But I knew that tracks with something.
Mm-hmm.
And to better familiarize folks, Trask was played by in the movies.
Days of Future Past
Yeah.
or the original
Um, well, Days of Future Past was what's his name from Game of
Peter
Thrones.
Dinklage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dad, do you remember that movie?
Yeah, I remember.
Peter
Maybe
Dinklage.
that's probably why I remember the name from. Honestly,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Peter Dinklage's character is Bolivar Trask.
yep, I remember.
Great movie.
Hell yeah.
Sidetrack.
And then
Especially
what do you guys think about Eddie Brock when we meet him?
Typical college student.
Yeah, that's exactly what I got when I was
Yeah.
reading it. He's just the stereotype of college guy.
just a
Um,
dude, bro.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just a dude.
Just a dude.
Trying to get it in with Gwen.
Oh yeah.
15-year-old.
Right.
Damn it, boy.
Yeah, the his roommate at the end, you know, when Eddie's like moved out, kind of sums it up best. Like he's just a loser, man, and he wanted basically everyone to know that he was a loser too.
Yeah.
Well, his roommate looked like a homeless guy at first. I was like, what
Right.
is this guy?
Well, they both look homeless, but their dorm room is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but Eddie Rock was it was good to see him like in a different way because I'm
Uh-huh.
only used to the movie, of course.
Topher Grace.
And
Oh my gosh.
well, not only that, the other one, the same one is
Venom?
Tom Hardy, right?
Oh
Venom?
yeah, you're talking about Tom Hardy, yeah.
But and I forgot about the other guy that played him. But it was cool to see
Topher
something
Grace.
different. What's that?
Topher Grace from that
That
70s
70s
show.
show.
Yeah. But it's good to see him in a different way. But he was a little annoying. He was one of those guys who was he's a know-it-all. Everything else he talked about he gave the same line to Peter that he gave to Gwen.
Yeah, in 5 years, 10 years, you'll never remember any of these people's names, so don't worry about them. This is exactly what everyone tells you.
I figure it's something he repeats in the mirror every day. He
Yeah.
hates frats because they probably didn't let him in a frat.
Yeah.
So he became a little bit. And then the way he was talking to the professor, which is another name that popped in my head because I was like, this guy sounds familiar.
Doc Connors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yes.
There's something
Yeah.
I have written here actually for you guys because, like I said, there are things that go on in the Ultimate Universe that are a little bit beyond Ultimate Spider-Man, written by Brian Michael Bendis.
Mhm.
And there was a series going alongside this called Marvel Team Up, and people who know Marvel like history will know that Marvel Team Up was just a book where they had Spider-Man and anyone else in the Marvel universe. And this particular Marvel Team Up, I think, was the one where they introduce Daredevil or Blade in it's like Marvel Team Up 14, I think, and that's where we see Doc Connors as the Lizard for the first time.
Oh, wow.
So that has already happened by this point, and they mention it, and we get like a little bit of a flashback panel to it. I think Alec has it right there. Yeah. This Lizard looks crazy cool. I think he's more of a monster. He has sharp features. It's awesome.
But did we miss that in the Did I not remember that because they showed it like a flashback scene?
Yeah.
Did it happen in this 6 volumes that we read or
no? It happened in Marvel Team Up.
Okay.
And so that we'll get to that too sometimes in this series where something will have happened in Marvel Team Up and Peter's already met someone. Like in the background of all this, Peter is meeting all the Ultimate Heroes.
Yep.
But usually like it's not really important. He meets them while in the Spider-Man costume while on patrol, and they all hate him basically. They think he's an arrogant teenager. For example, when he meets Daredevil for the first time, it happens off screen. He Daredevil hates him. He can smell that he's a teenager.
Yeah.
And he's like Batman in this universe. He thinks he's irresponsible for putting on the suit, and he hates that he's like patrolling the city, as Daredevil puts it, my city.
Yeah.
I also have here in my notes the science center that they go to is called the Reed Richards Science Center, and also in the Ultimate Universe, I think it's crazy because I think Reed Richards is supposed to be like 20 years old in the Ultimate Universe, and they mention him a lot throughout this volume.
Yeah, I know.
Even in the flashbacks, they talk about how Reed Richards is making like moves in science, and like I'm talking about the picnic scene. They talk about Reed Richards, and he must have been like, I don't know, like 13 years old or 7 years old when that happened. So Reed Richards has always been like this smart guy. In the Ultimate Universe, everyone knows who the Fantastic Four are, just like they kind of do in the canon universe. They're just world famous at this point, and their accident has already happened. There's actually a Marvel team up that happens pretty early on that mirrors. Correct me, Alec, but I think it's Amazing Fantasy like 20. I think when he meets the Fantastic Four. And he goes to the Baxter building.
That's the iconic cover where he's like that, right?
Yeah, that one.
That's Amazing Spider-Man #1.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they have an issue that mirrors that, and it's kind of like tongue-in-cheek. Actually, Alec, I gave you a comic when I went home for Christmas, the Generation X. The artist who did that issue of Marvel Team Up.
No shot.
Yeah. He only did a few things for Marvel, and it was stuff like that, like one shots.
That's awesome, man. Oh yeah, nice.
I feel like this book is getting more complex now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
And as we're getting there, what did you guys feel about the symbiote?
Symbiote.
The Venom.
The Venom.
Oh, the Venom. Oh. It was I mean that was kind of like the fun part of 6 when he went to go get it. Spider-Man went to go get it, and then it like a little bit fell on him, and he kind of went crazy.
Yeah,
that whole chapter was really cool to watch.
Yeah, it was like 2 pages of
all because he wanted to do what was good.
Yeah,
you know.
It was more like about 6-7 pages.
The whole transformation takes a couple pages, and then like I forget exactly. He wants to do tests because he doesn't trust that Eddie can do it. Eddie, who has a lab at his disposal. Well, Peter has, as he says, a 4-din microscope at home.
Yeah.
I think that's fun. That's funny too. I have it in my notes that all Peter got was a microscope when his parents died, and Eddie got like everything. Their science work. He got a car, a car living in New York.
It's like that Ferris Bueller line. I wanted a car. I got a computer.
right.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
Well, that whole part where Peter Parker's going through the whole Venom process and
They're at
attacking
the reggae
people.
show.
What's that?
And they're at the reggae show. Gwen
Yeah,
and
Gwen
Eddie.
and
Yeah.
Eddie.
And then like some pop artist gets kidnapped, and they're going through that whole thing. And is that pop artist anybody I didn't know about either? Or no.
I saw the last name when they mentioned who was getting kidnapped, and like when they called for the ransom, and I couldn't recognize it off the top of my head.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyways, the one that the frame I liked the best was after he attacked the guy. He was about to kill him, and then he like starts breaking out of the Venom suit.
Oh yeah.
There's a frame where it has him, and then pretty much everybody that's ever popped up in this whole amazing Ultimate Spider-Man universe, and like he's ripping out the Venom, and it's just like little pictures of everybody. Gwen, I mean, just everybody's in there. Doc Ock.
Now, is it me or is that like symbolizing the whole, like, you know how Venom pretty much can like ends up knowing, like the symbiote ends up knowing
the
like
memories.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
of
It's
his house and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Mhm.
That's what I got, like what was going on there.
It's basically putting all his memories front and center because they're being shared between him and the suit.
Yeah.
There's also that scene where he fights the Shocker again, who I think the last time we saw was in Volume 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter beat his ass, and then Peter beat his ass again.
Come back here, Shocker!
Yeah.
We didn't beat him as Venom though this time, right?
Yeah, he beat him as Venom, which is a clear like kind of like distinction between the Ultimate Universe and main universe, because vibrations would affect like canon Venom. Yeah. But in this one, it kind of Peter says it helps with his headache.
Yeah.
Which actually
huge reimagining of the suit. Go for it.
Yeah, it might actually be like it would have affected him more if it was more intense, because it says that it clears Peter's headache, which I'm now realizing could mean that the suit is disconnecting from Peter.
Yeah.
Like a little bit. But maybe Shocker just doesn't have the tools for it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and that whole little adventure ended up with him at the cemetery.
Oh yeah, in front of the gravestone of his parents, and Uncle Ben, who has a Bob Dylan quote. Yeah, I've walked and crawled on 6 crooked highways. Bob Dylan. That's the thing that's under Ben Parker's tomb. Under Mary Parker is a woman of integrity and beauty. Under Richard Parker is a father, husband, a man of science, and then Uncle Ben, Bob Dylan.
Right.
That's funny. But here and there, now that go back to the artwork, right after that scene, is the next chapter, and it shows Spider-Man with Venom behind him. That was a pretty good picture.
The covers for this volume were really nice.
Yeah, because even going back where like the symbiote kind of crystallizes, and then clearly the next page, it, you know, he like breaks free from it, and he's just standing there, and like the dust of the like the crystallized symbiote, and then you got you know, you're showing him, but then you see Venom in the moonlight, you know, kind of like looking up with the tongue sticking out, and you know that was like, you know, that scene or that picture there was probably like the whole reason I always thought like Venom was just dope, and you know, just, you know, as a kid, you know, what captured like that whole, just that picture of the whole essence of who Venom is, and you know what I like about him, you know.
Hell yeah. I think Bagley like really was in his, like, for lack of a better term, in his bag.
Yeah.
Like he he really knew what he was trying to do with the symbiote. I think the choice to make it like appear purple is really nice too.
Yeah. I really like the purple tone or hue for Venom. That's kind of always been my Venom growing up with the Scott Johnson artwork. You know, you'd always see that in posters everywhere, and you see that purple hulking fucking monster, and it's like, damn, that guy's really gonna fuck some shit up.
Then Peter scared because he is 15. He's super scared. He goes to Reed Richards Science Center to get the symbiote in that weird flask, and he does an old like 60s Clone Saga bit where he throws it into the smokestack, which is something that he does for the body of the first clone of him back in like the 60s, 70s, before the Clone Saga even started, like in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
And we get to see that scene again in the 90s when the Clone Saga happens, because it turns out maybe that wasn't in canon. I mean, maybe that wasn't the clone. Maybe the clone was the Peter who won that day.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, Peter Parker loves throwing things into smokestacks. It's in every universe.
That inevitable intersection.
Mm-hmm. It's a canon event.
Right.
Eddie, of course, had a second flask of the Venom goo, and he instantly thinks, because Peter is like a little kid, I can handle this better than Peter could, and it instantly goes wrong.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He kills a cleaning lady first thing, and then 2 cops, and then he there's some intersection. Of course, there's your favorite dad, Peter and Mary Jane talking.
Yeah.
Peter shows up to her window while it's raining. Also, rainy couple days in New York in this volume.
Very dramatic.
Mm-hmm. They have that talk where he's like, "Do you miss me?" She goes, "Of course I do." And he goes, "Do you know, like, if you had told me what, like, everything about your dad and your parents, like, I would have listened." Which, I understand that Mary Jane isn't like the best in this volume, but also Peter, like, it makes sense. In the last volume, she got thrown off the bridge, and I don't think we've ever had a scene where Peter's like talking to her about it,
No.
And he's very concerned about Spider-Man, which of course he's 15 years old. He has superpowers. He has a costume. That's the only thing he wants to ever talk about and think about. But he does have a partner, and it's just like the consequences of being Spider-Man are really hitting him, which is pure Spider-Man to its core.
It just proves that Zendaya is a better MJ.
I don't disagree. Yeah,
She got thrown off bridges, almost killed in 2 different countries, and you didn't see her complaining.
no, you don't.
She held it down.
She a damsel in distress.
Right.
Nope.
She's more hood.
Then
Yeah.
So we get to see that scene where we get to see inside of Eddie's head while Venom's like taking control of him, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to learn more about the way that this symbiote works, which is that it's feeding off of its host.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why Peter was able to handle it is because he's super powered, but Eddie is just a dude, and instantly the suit takes over him, and it just wants to eat. And I like how it's kind of Brian Michael Bendis knows how to write inside of other characters' heads when they're like either like being the Green Goblin or in this case Venom. I specifically like the scene where Eddie is just saying he's thinking about Peter Parker. He's just saying, Peter, I can hold it together. Where's the woman that was just somebody help me? My heart is beating in my chest. Peter did this. Parker did this. And he's thinking about Peter, and thinking about Peter is what gets him to control the suit for like a second.
Yeah.
And he's able to form it, and he becomes kind of like how Peter was when he first became the suit, when the suit first took hold of him. And it's not until like the cops come in that Venom unleashes again, and then Eddie has no more control.
Yeah, and that's kind of dope how they did that though, where it's like, it's like just normalize, kind of like showing him, but then it just like gets triggered, and the symbiote just takes over, like,
It's the cops that ruin everything in these 2 volumes. They shoot Peter, they provoke Eddie Brock.
Yeah. Though the cops kind of messed up in every volume if you think about it.
Yeah. It's because Captain Stacy's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have no leadership. And I think in that last bank robbery like scene in the previous volume, we get to meet the new police captain, Gene DeWolf,
Hey,
who Alec will know is like a staple Spider-Man character
yeah.
in the canon universe. What do we think about the Peter's fight with Venom in the middle of his geometry class?
Is it in the middle of the geometry class?
Yeah, because he's in geometry class and it's raining outside. And he glances out the window into the football field, and Eddie's just there.
Yeah. See, I thought the scene was good. I liked the artwork. And I had to go back and check it again because I didn't know when he defeated Venom.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got to the end and I was like, "What happened to Venom?" And I had to go back and look at it, and it was kind of
Unclear.
yeah.
Well, I think just looking at it now, it gives it a good like gunslinging samurai showdown, like face off,
Mhm.
you know, like that. Just that whole like because it's like two scenes where it's like you see it from like Peter in the back, but then like Venom's arms and legs, but then you see them side by side, and then you see their faces, and just you know,
All with the narration of Richard Parker in the background, talking
Yeah.
about his mistakes, letting Eddie Brock Sr. Convince him to go look for private funding instead of funding it themselves. I think it's really cool. Even towards the end, so Peter fights Eddie, and it takes them both landing on some electrical wires, and then the cops interfering again. NYPD has some like weird engagement rules, man. Especially in this world that we're seeing, more and more superpowered people are appearing, and they just feel like they can shoot their way out of things.
Yeah.
But it allows for Eddie to get electrocuted by the cables, and essentially for Peter to think for a second that maybe they're both dead, Eddie and the symbiote.
Yeah.
But Nick Fury reminds him, in this business, if we don't have a body, there's no guarantee that they're dead.
Yeah,
Man. He's left shaking.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course it's when he goes talk to Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yeah,
Mr. Nicholas,
who apparently was in college in India 10 years ago.
I felt that was kind of like not a direct response.
Yeah, it really wasn't. I also really like the monologue at the end of that issue where Eddie is, quote unquote dead, where Richard is talking about how, like all these court troubles, all the science bullshit, it makes me like sad, and I can't really enjoy my work anymore, but at least I get to come home at the end of the day and see your mother and you. And he goes on this whole thing where he goes, because at the end of the day, bottom line, no matter how bad my day is, I get to come home and see you and watch you grow up. So how bad can it be?
Yeah.
He goes, just knowing I get to watch you become the man I know you will grow up to be, all this other stuff just doesn't matter. All that matters is to me is you, Peter, you and your mom. And he goes, and I can't wait to see how you turned out. Which is, to me, is just real tragic.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then he met with Connors, and then he went on his sad walk.
Oh yeah, drunk Kurt Connors. That conversation with Samuel Jackson is like half that issue, and it's really just him calming Peter down. Like, this is a superhero business. You were so excited about it, and the first time like it doesn't go your way, you want to quit.
So I have a quick question on that. Do they base Samuel L. Jackson off of this guy, or do they base this guy off of Samuel L. Jackson?
Like as Nick Fury?
Yeah.
I think. Well, first they just wanted to like have him as reference, because if you remember, like when he first appeared, he is just a bald black dude, and he doesn't really look like Samuel Jackson. But I guess they got that feedback, and then so whenever they draw him now, especially like in this volume and in the Ultimates, they use Sam Jackson as reference.
And also, technically, he's Junior, right? He's because the actual Nick Fury from back in the day is his dad.
So in the Ultimate Universe, this is Nick Fury Sr.
Oh, okay. Is it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and in main universe, Black Nick Fury is Nick Fury Jr.
Okay.
and Nick Fury Jr. is one of his sons. I actually read a comic by Jonathan Hickman called Secret Warriors, where um, we get to meet Nick Fury's son, his first son, and he's a white dude, and Nick Fury got around in the canon universe, and you know what? In this universe too, we won't get to read a lot of Nick Fury other than in Spider-Man. And I'll tell you what, that man is going places. Let's see. What what did you guys think about his conversation with Doc Connors?
I knew the name, I just couldn't remember it, and then I remember because I had just happened to watch the last Spider-Man,
No Way Home.
the one with all three Spider-Mans.
Yeah. No Way
No Way
Home.
Home.
Yeah, and I remember the lizard being Connors.
Yeah, I just wanted to turn everyone into lizards.
Right.
Yeah, I could give you a real makeover to a giant lizard. Exactly. So
Yeah.
stupid.
But yeah, that's the
Oh,
only reason I
but
remember it. But I mean, it was what I thought it was gonna be when he talked on the phone with Eddie. I kind of felt that character was gonna be that way, so exactly the way I thought it was gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
So they set it up perfect.
Now, do you think they made him like drunk because he's pretty much drowning his whole like
mistakes.
thoughts, or yeah, like being the lizard and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like,
I think
forget like
I think so because whenever I've met Doc Connors, like in the canon universe, he's a tortured guy.
yeah,
He's not
Mhm.
always willingly trying to be a giant hulking lizard. He does it like in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. He does it because he's trying to cure the world of something.
yeah,
Because lizards, I think specifically in that movie, lizards can regrow limbs. So he's like, if I inject a little bit of lizard DNA into everyone, we can all regrow our limbs.
yeah.
He's actually trying to help uh, Norman Osborn stay alive.
Oh
And
yeah,
that was the whole threat. And they're like, well, we don't have any humans to try it on. And then the other guy's like, well, I see you're missing an arm there, buddy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
You might
forget
want to
that.
chop chop.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. After that, he went for his walk and left me with a dramatic cliffhanger.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he goes across the roofs and he feels like he's being watched and followed by Eddie. And
Yeah.
he tries calling out to him, but of course, like there's no response, and he just stands there looking defeated. And then that's the end of the volume.
Yeah. And do you think also maybe because I mean, like his senses did kind of trigger, but at the same time, I don't know if that was more like just his paranoia triggered the senses, and not so much that like Eddie was close by or
He's a
whatnot.
disturbed kid, Gabe.
Yeah, well, that's
Find out in the
15-year-old kid.
next.
He's a 15-year-old kid with superpowers that he just found out his dad was mom and dad were murdered. He just got issues going on. He needs therapy.
And he got left very unsatisfied with the Dr. Connors visit.
Oh yeah,
And every doctor he's met in the field that he wants to be in,
yeah,
monsters.
yeah. I think one problem that this Peter always falls like he always has is that he's kind of always looking for a father figure, whether he
Yeah.
knows it or not, and everyone just keeps disappointing him.
Yeah,
Uh,
even Fury for a second.
Yeah,
Like
It's not that he's like even looking. It just so happens that the mentors, quote unquote, are like, "I'll take you under my wing, son."
Yeah.
and then they fail spectacularly, or they let him down. I think
Unintended.
the Nick Fury conversation can be summed up. That scene in Iron Man 3 where the kid's like, my dad left to go get scratchers, and I guess he won,
Yeah.
so and he's never been back. And then Tony's like, "Well, you don't have to be a pussy about it."
right.
Yeah.
That's like Nick Fury to
Yeah.
Peter.
Yeah, the kid needs therapy. 6 overall thoughts.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. Don't mess with tampering, or don't tamper with unfinished.
Right.
Leave it be.
Yeah, I like 6 a lot. I thought it was real good. Like I said, my biggest complaint is they left me cliffhanger.
It's
But
funny. It's
Now,
funny you said what you said, Dad, because the next issue, like in the next volume, is called Therapy.
Yeah.
there you go.
now,
I told you, Gabe.
this probably a little more for Alec and little Vic, but how do you feel of this whole thing about they went about the symbiote instead of like it being like an alien, or it was just more like lab created, and
Mm-hmm.
you
Right.
know
Alec, you want to go first?
I honestly don't mind if they retcon,
Mhm.
original source material,
Yeah.
as long as it's done in a proper way and it makes sense in the end and it all fits into the story. I'm okay with it. I liked this. It's very, because I think that's what they were gonna do in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 and the deleted scenes where they had all the rooms full of the vulture wings, Dr. Octopus arms. It was
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
supposed to have not only the head of Norman Osborn, but also a Venom symbiote floating around in a
Right,
little
in a vial
container.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's where they were trying to go with it too. But I liked it. I like it. I
Yeah.
fuck with it.
Hell yeah. I like it for the same reasons too, especially since like, Canon Peter gets to see in Secret Wars out in like I
Battle
wouldn't say
Worlds.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say space, but it's really just,
Yeah.
like a extra dimensional plane, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for this being a very like real and gritty version of Spider-Man, it's kind of you have to go out of left field to get him into space or an
Right.
extra
Yeah.
dimension.
Where
And
there's
it
more.
Yeah, and it works out really well that it was something. It even served the story a lot that it was something that his dad made.
Mhm.
This is Eddie says it himself too. Like this is our inheritance, and then
Yeah.
to see how much pain that caused both of them.
Legacy and guilt of their
Mhm.
parents' work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And kind of goes out to all the purists that don't like change. That hey,
it can be good.
sometimes yeah, it can be if it's done right, and it doesn't have to stick to the status quo, like
Yeah, man.
straight to the comics or something like that, or
Yeah.
like it's okay to have a newer outtake, or new version of something, as
Yeah,
long
man.
as I
And that's
mean,
And,
coming from like a Spider-Man extremist, I would
right,
say. Like I love it. I love it.
yeah,
hell
As long
yeah.
as it makes sense, of course.
And I'd like to mention that I've listened to an interview with Brian Michael Bendis where he talks about all the things that he wanted to change about the Ultimate Universe and how he was nervous about showing them to Stan Lee while Stan Lee
Mhm.
was alive. And he had been ducking Stan Lee for a couple months, I think, he said. And he got a call from Stan where he goes, "Come meet me at my favorite restaurant in California." And he met him at the Cheesecake Factory. And he talked to Stan about everything that he was doing, and Stan said it's perfect. Like
Aw.
you can do whatever you want. Like he didn't feel disrespected by the way Brian Michael Bendis was changing things, and he really appreciated it. Especially, I don't think Stan was reading month to month Spider-Man.
Mhm.
In the last like 15 years of his life,
Yeah.
maybe. So to hear that someone who is highly regarded by the fans for writing Spider-Man for so long, because like
Mhm.
I said, Bendis wrote Spider-Man all the way to like 2013, I think,
Damn.
and he's probably the second longest person to do it, other than I don't know Stan in those comics, Sunday comics. Alec, you
Yeah.
know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Uh, I think it wasn't spectacular, but it was Spider-Man and something.
In the
It
papers.
was it's the newspaper
Mhm.
collection, no?
Yeah, I know it had like a
That's
different name, but I can't remember it.
it's the Amazing Spider-Man, I think, as well.
Yeah, because Stan was writing those for like 20 years, I think, and they were a lot shorter, of course.
There you go.
Can't see it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Just the whole newspaper book just full of Stanley's writing and all the stories.
Mm-hmm. It even got to the point where Stan Lee was contradicting what actual Spider-Man writers were doing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think, for example, Mary Jane and Peter getting married happened in the newspaper
Oh wow.
comics, and so they had to do it in the main canon because Stan did it. So the only person who has as much, Spider-Man knowledge as Stan Lee is Brian Michael Bendis, and it really shows in this volume, because it's not Venom isn't something that Stan Lee created, but it is something that is under the umbrella of Spider-Man,
Mm-hmm.
and even then he handles it really well.
Yeah,
it's really good. Dad?
No, I mean it's to me the volume was very good. I liked it. 6 was good.
What did you think about this interpretation of Venom?
It was different for me because, like I said, I was used to I remember the Tom Hardy one, but I completely forgot about the other one, and that was in the originals, right? Tobey Maguire.
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
He's also an alien in that when he comes down with Jonah Jameson's son, I think.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that one, but it was different. I thought the drawings were very on point. I think that the way they put them together, compared to what I'm used to seeing, was actually probably even better because it's a drawing. You can get a little more creative, but I thought it was really good. I'm kind of interested to see what happens next with him, because to me Venom is always kind of like one of those I forgot the word you guys use for it, but he's not like an
anti-hero.
Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of wondering what they do with them here and how they're going to proceed. But other than that, like I said, it was a really good volume. 5 was good. 5 was okay. 6 was great. So I mean, I liked everything they did on it. It was more. I think I texted you guys yesterday and told you it was a lot of dialogue in 6, and it was, but it got everything you needed to know out of it. And like I said, I had to go back and look at the pictures because I was just going with the dialogue so quickly. So I liked it. I liked the way they did Venom. It was good.
Yeah, and just the whole story behind it. Just with Spider-Man, like I keep saying again, why he's so relatable. And I mean, just with these 5 issues alone, I mean, and if you know the history of Spider-Man, it just solidifies why he belongs on the Mount Rushmore of comic book characters. You know,
absolutely.
Well, not to
How
jump
about you,
off
Gabe?
Spider-Man.
How about you, Gabe, as a Venom aficionado? Any more thoughts on the take?
I loved it because it really shows it just shows how weak Eddie is as a person. Like in the mindset, and how, like, no matter how hard he tried to fight, to being in control, like the symbiote basically just said, "No, you're my bitch."
I think his roommate explained how weak he is.
Yeah. But they did pretty good. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing also, how far they take, like with this. And
well, guys, before we come back with our final thoughts on these chapters, I just want to quick note. I went to the movies yesterday and saw the previews to Superman, and I don't know if we're going to review that movie, but the previews have me with mixed feelings right now. So we'll see how, because it was James Gunn did this one, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a little, I don't know, the previews got me with mixed feelings if I'm going to like it or not. Obviously, it's just previews, but it comes out in a couple weeks.
I'm actually looking forward to it, just for the fact that I saw on an interview where, like, this actor, I can't remember his name,
David Cornsweet.
Yeah. He brings back something that no other Superman actor did until since Christopher Reeve, is that the whole difference between Clark Kent and Superman. Like, when you hear Superman talking, there's confidence and just no
authority.
And then when he's talking as Clark Kent, it's a klutz and kind of timid and
unsure of himself.
And from what I hear, he actually he captures that pretty well,
Well,
so.
they're dropping 2 movies, which is that one and Fantastic Four. So I don't know if you guys wanted to talk about maybe watching one or the other and reviewing it. But I seen the Fantastic Four previews as well, and they look pretty good. But it's up to you guys if you guys want to review it or not. But like I said, just wanted to put it out there for you guys before we wrap today up.
And
Um,
before we wrap today up, I think the next thing that we cover on this show is going to be All Star Superman.
Okay.
We'll probably have to do the episode after the movie comes out. That way we can combine our review of the movie after we've all seen it, and then talk about All Star Superman.
Yeah.
sounds good.
Agreed.
So Superman will be the next one, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, that's the plan. And final grading thoughts on 5 and 6, Alec.
I will give these 2 volumes a solid 9.5, 9.5.
Hell yeah.
Good stories, good lead up, good not. Oh, I guess good cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe.
I'm with Alec on that. Just again, this keeps on solidifying why Spider-Man is such a great story. I mean, heck, we've done how many issues or how many episodes on the Web Slinger?
Yeah, this is our 3rd so far.
So I mean, you, you can't hate Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
It's just everything about it. From the whole the drama aspect of it. They just, especially on this so far, they just capture it so well. So yeah, nine
Okay,
and a
Vic.
half.
Yeah, I agree with Alec. Like 9.5 is exactly what I would have given it to. I like that as you guys mentioned earlier, like volume 5 feels like filler, but it's like it's important to see where Peter's headspace is going into volume 6. Huh?
It's still great too.
Oh yeah, the imposter story arc is really cool. Because we've gotten a taste of how the public sees Spider-Man a little bit in the background. Him working at the Daily Bugle and J. Jonah always trying to profit off of him. But we really get to see the negative effects of it when someone, dresses up like him and does bank robberies and kills Captain Stacy. We get to see the full force of the public hate and how it affects Peter. And then going into volume 6, his mental state being as low as it is, with Mary Jane breaking up with him and him only finding comfort in like familiar things, even things that he wasn't like, he didn't even remember until he saw the video. He didn't even remember Eddie Brock. And him looking for that connection because he feels, alone. Like he's got May Parker, but as we've seen, like he doesn't really confide in her at all about who he is and what he does, and he's always hiding that from her. And sure, it takes a while for Peter to admit to Eddie, that he's Spider-Man. It takes Eddie finding him in that lab to realize, and for Peter to tell him everything. But you could see the relief on his face after he tells Eddie everything.
Yeah.
Like they have that moment where he's asking Eddie, like, do you understand? Like, do you believe me that like this is the only way that it could have gone? Do you believe me that he's looking for that validation? And then finally Eddie gives it to him after Peter's like, you're the only person I've ever told. He's obviously omitting the fact that MJ knows, but with their relationship being the way it is, this is a connection that Peter really wanted, and it didn't work out the way that he thought it would, and it just leaves him in the dumps. And we don't end this volume on a high note, We end this volume with Peter still in that that mindset where he feels like everything's just tumbling around him.
Yep.
And always looking over his shoulder.
Always looking over his shoulder, exactly. And
he needs therapy.
Yeah, he needs therapy desperately. And I think these volumes are really great. I think the art's amazing. Oh, which one's that? 39? Oh, therapy.
Yes, therapy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see, we're on the same spot.
May I add, when I went to go to Big Ben's, I don't know if you remember me telling you guys, I actually ended up buying 7 and 8 before getting 5 and 6 because they only had 7, 8. Actually, they had all the way up till maybe like 12, and I was like, I don't know if I could dump that much money at one time.
Hopefully, they'll still be there the next time you go.
Yeah.
Well, guys, as always, I'm the I'm the bad guy here because if you let these three go, they'll go for hours and hours with this.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, and it at least gives you 1 hour out of your day, not to think about what else is going on in the world, and just talk
Yep.
about good old comic books. But as always, I got to be the guy to cut them off. But if you want to talk more to them, and you want to hear more about what they're doing, you can always reach them on their social medias. Alec, let them know what you got going on and what social media they can reach you at.
We are still in production of our movie Spine Tingling Spider-Man. You could follow the progress there on Instagram at underscore STSMM underscore. And then my personal Instagram is Alec underscore October.
All right.
Yeah, and I'd just like to mention, since the last time that we recorded, Alec, you've casted two key characters in the Spider-Man universe.
Three, actually.
Three.
We have three key characters. We have, number one, we have a Mary Jane. Two, we have a Harry Osborn. Number three, we have a Black Cat.
Hell yeah.
Well, make sure that MJ is not going to be annoying like in Spider-Man 5.
Not at all. Not at all. Very, very headstrong.
And as you can
Very
see,
headstrong
Alec has his
woman.
costumes behind him for the movie, so he always
Spoiler.
gets the lists.
Oh
Nice.
wow.
Gabe,
You could find me at on Instagram at Gabe's Pix 22, and on TikTok at Conflay722, and Facebook at Gabriel Feliciano. If you like just stupid stuff and food, that's pretty much what I post. So
Oh yeah.
and Vic, if they want to continue talking to you,
I'm really only on Instagram publicly these days. You can find me at Victorino underscore MP4. The Twitch hasn't been going on that much just because, work's been crazy and I haven't found the time. One day I'll probably get back on, but it's twitch.tv/Vic at night. You can find me there. Sometimes I play the finals. Sometimes I just sit there and play Jedi Survivor for a couple hours and kind of don't talk to anyone. But yeah, you can find me there.
all right, and you can find us all on Rhyme and Reason underscore podcast on Instagram, and myself Mendez Victor and Instagram as well. Until next time, we'll be reviewing the Superman movie coming out. I think July 5th,
11th.
July 11th.
And alongside that review, we will be going into All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Peter Quietly. Frank Quietly? Yeah, Frank Quietly.
And definitely
good.
a good time for movies because this weekend you got Jurassic World, following week you got Superman, then followed by Fantastic Four. So
yeah, it's a blockbuster summer.
Yeah.
And then I walked into it at the beginning of this before we recorded, but 28 years later started off this month. Yeah,
F1 was great, so just so you guys know.
Was it?
Yes.
Hell yeah,
it was awesome. But all right, guys, we'll talk to you next time. Vic, your line.
Don't forget, support your local comic book store. Walk in
guys.
there, even if you have
Always.
a pull box that you haven't emptied in a while. Make sure you go there and you end your pull box so that you can. Alec, you're giving me that face because you know about back home, but it happened here again.
Oh man.
Yeah, in Ohio, I had a stack, guys, probably literally a foot in height. And I had to go tell them, I'm like, put my pull on hold every week. I'm going to come in here and, lower the stack. And that's what I've been doing. But even if you have to do that, support your local comic book store.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Take care.
Happy reading.
Likewise.
Happy reading.